Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to our Essential Island Living Builders Weekly Team Call. I hope you guys all enjoyed your 4th of July off with family and friends. And I really appreciate you showing up tonight because this is the first time we've ever been blessed with a cross-line leader that has come to talk to us and share with us. And so, as you guys know, Noelle asked me to share a few weeks ago with her team about the $1,500 bonus, the Power of 3 bonus. And so she's here tonight to share with you guys. So before I turn it over to her, I'll give you guys a little bit of background. So Noelle and I have an interesting connection. She is married to my ex-stepbrother of 17 years, Pono Campbell. So back, and those of you that are my family members or friends for a long time remember when my dad was married to my auntie Cindy, and she had 2 boys, Kikaula and Pono. And so Pono is Noelle's husband, and I think we met one random night in a club years, like before DoTERRA, way before DoTERRA. I think maybe even before Kids for Me, I'm not sure. But and that was it. And then I found out that she was sharing, and I reached out to her on Instagram, and we just started connecting and really vibing, and we formed what I consider a real friendship and partnership, because Noelle is just all about the cross-line love. Like, she and I really share in this philosophy that there is more than enough for everyone, and the more that we connect and collaborate, the more powerful that is for all of us in our businesses. And so I totally appreciate and love her outlook and philosophy with that, and her willingness to be here tonight. And I look forward to more. We did a Mother's Day event actually when she came to Maui for Mother's Day, and that was amazing. Tilly ran a beach scrub, and Tilly and Noelle have a lot of connections as well. So but I'm so grateful for Noelle. She gives me so much inspiration. She's a mom of 3 boys. So Noelle, top left-hand corner, Kanani, my 3-boy mom over there. And so she just gives me so much inspiration with her authenticity and realness, and just like love and nurturing of the people on her team, and her love of the land, and her love of our oils. So Noelle, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited to have you here tonight.
You're so cute. That was such a nice introduction. Oh my gosh. It's so funny. So Liza, yeah, she totally did, and such an amazing talk for us, you guys. Like, be so proud of her. My team just loved her and was like, they were so grateful and thankful that she would grateful and happy. I was gonna say that she was so willing to share. And so this, to be honest, is just the payback for her being selfless and open to sharing some real, like, to me, nuggets that are happening on your guys' team with your guys' Power of 3, which is something on my whole team, my upline, crossline, everywhere is nothing. No one is, I don't think anyone even really gets their 250. So for us, it's huge to be able to learn and just even know that it's possible, because you know how that goes, right? And today we'll talk about that whole limiting belief thing. And the reason why I wanted to, I was thinking, okay, well, Liza probably knows more than me about all the technical things, or, there's nothing that she probably hasn't talked to you guys about, what is it, placements, comp plan, ranks. I mean, she knows it all, right? There's nothing more that I can really give to you guys with that. And so something that I thought I could share is more about like mindset and limiting beliefs. And so, first of all, hello to the ones that I met. I think just Kanania, fellow mother of dragons. Oh, my boys have been extra crazy today and yesterday. I don't know what is going on. Even my husband, he's the oldest child, right? Yeah, so married a Maui boy. Always had a lot of Maui friends and always went to there. Are most of you guys from Maui? Are all of you from Maui? Yeah, just about everyone. Awesome. Yeah, so
Sorry.
what's that?
Shar's on Oahu. I think whoever, let me look who's here, but Shar's on Oahu, but she is born and raised on Maui. And I'm not quite sure who the person just on the phone is, but yeah, looks like everybody else is here.
Awesome. Mommy in the house. So yeah, we still go back a lot because my husband's family still lives there. They're from Waikapu. Now they live like in Hula, Waikapu. I am from Mo'iliili, which is where we're at right now. We live on the compound. If you do follow my Instagram, it like trips people out, I guess, because I do, especially if you're from Maui, you don't know, right? I live in the middle of the city, like right next to Waikiki, in between Waikiki and Manoa, if you're familiar. And so I live like in the total city, I don't know, in the middle of the city, but I don't like the city life. Like that's just never been my thing. And growing up where I grow up, I've been fortunate enough to live in a compound. So it's easy when you're connected to all your family in a space, right? To pretend like you can live wherever you want to live. So that's kind of like what I've done as raising kids. Of course, we wanted to move to Maui right away, but we ended up just staying here next to my parents, next to my sister, and my cousins. And so we're doing that thing right now. Maybe one day though we'll move to Maui. That's still on the horizon when we reach presidential diamond or blue diamond, hopefully diamond maybe even. And so yeah, so in DoTERRA, I've been doing DoTERRA. I would say like for real, the business, like something that I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this as a business. Still shame, but stepping in about 2 years ago when my baby is 2, and that's when I left my job at Heia Fish Pond. I was an education coordinator. Before that, I was a classroom teacher, and so I think that's also another connection and admiration I have for Liza and a lot of you who I think are teachers, right, or in the DOE or something. I used to teach in the DOE, and so I know that if I was in the DOE, for sure, something like this I would have jumped on this opportunity as well, because you have pockets of time that you can work. And when you get really good at what you do in the classroom, sometimes you get bored and you want to branch out, and especially the pay, right? And so for me as an educator, I always thought I was just going to have this cap of pay and I just was going to live this simple life. And that was like what I was saying yes to. And then I finally, you know how it is, right? When you're like, I don't know, something about my mind can't stop thinking about DoTerra and like the opportunity, and I just want to get my oils paid for. So that's what I told myself for 2 years as a user, sharer. I was building my team. I was really close to silver, but I was telling myself I was absolutely not doing the business. I just was sharing education, and really scared to say anything about me doing network marketing. But third child causes you to make some crazy decisions, and my job was like too much hours. You know how it goes, too much hours, too little pay. And I just was like, it wasn't about the money, but it was about me not seeing my kids anymore and then spending all of my paycheck on sitters. And I just wasn't into that. And that's when I finally was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it and see how it goes. And so it's been a journey, as it is. And I think right after that, I reached silver right after I had baby, and sometimes it happens, right? When some big life events where you think like, oh, there's no way my business is going to be thriving. There's no way I can grow. And then you reach a new rank and you're like, what? That's just crazy. How did that happen? And coming back to like the whole mindset piece and limiting belief thing, right before that, I almost quit. I was super over it. And I didn't really want to go for silver because I was like, I had a lot of limiting beliefs about network marketing, about who am I as, being in network marketing in DoTerra. What will people think of me? What if I reach silver? Then I'm going to have all this extra responsibilities and it's going to be more time and work. And just all these things. How can I be a good mom and have a good business, right? How many of you have thought of those things before? Anyone? They're pretty common, right? And as you grow and you start to have people do this business with you, right, under you, and you get to mentor them, you hear it and you're like, I totally had the belief. And it's hard for me. I straight up have a hard time not laughing because I know it's so funny to me. At one point, it's your world and you're so stuck to this way of thinking. And in the next, you're like, what? I don't have to think that way. And it's so liberating. And I know, like, when someone is going through that, there's this beautiful freedom on the other side. And that's why I always have to, it's probably not nice. Probably drives my downline crazy, but that's what it's like. I'm very real. Like Liza said, I'm very authentic. I can only be myself. And so that's how I approach my business. So the reason why I wanted to do limiting beliefs with you guys, and I thought it was something I could offer, is because I've always been a fan of Brianne Hovey. Are you guys a fan of Brianne Hovey? You guys know who she is? If you're doing Summer Success, she's basically running it with this girl, Jessica, who I also love. They are both very successful in doTERRA, right? And I used to always go to Brianne's events when she would have them at convention. And so I was just like, loved her, was a fan of her, and she was running this year-long program. And it was supposed to be like a super intense, heavy program about busting through limiting beliefs, like smashing all your goals and whatever. And so I did it, and it was a very uncomfortable price range for me. So uncomfortable that I was like, I think there's something to it. I just need to do it, and I'm going to figure it out. And so I did. So I spent a whole year working on my shit, basically. And that's what it felt like. And the funny thing is, you know, there was times I loved it. There was times I hated it. And there was times I thought, like, this is not even worth it. And the crazy thing is that only now do I feel like I'm actually confronting it. And so it was done in December, but only now do I actually feel like I'm reaping the benefits of the work that I did last year. And so limiting beliefs are tricky. It's a lot of, you know, peeling layers of an onion away. And it's a lot of forgiving yourself and giving yourself grace to go through these processes. And something that I've learned that trust, okay, so I am a very non-emotional person by nature. You know, I'm a Japanese dad, like, don't cry. He doesn't say I love you, doesn't give you hugs. And that's okay. Like, it's nothing like that hurts my feelings. That's just how I was raised. And I'm okay with that. And so that's one thing, right? And then if you guys are into horoscope signs, I'm a Sagittarius, which also has like no emotion. I'm all about like functionality and like figuring things out and like loving and like going with the flow, but not really feeling the flow. Okay. So just know I'm a very like hard person. And so going through a program where you have to kind of, I'm not going to say it's like you're looking at your emotions, because I really think, and this is why I love limiting beliefs, because it's not only for people who are emotional or people who want to get emotional. It really has nothing to do with that. Yes, you may cry if you figure out something or you feel something really strongly that's emotional to you. You know, if you figure out a limiting belief that is emotional to you, that can totally happen. And it does happen. But in the end, I think sometimes people are afraid to face these beliefs that you've made up, right, to perceive your world, and are scared to face them just in case that it may bring up some emotional trauma or whatever. And so I want to just preface with that it doesn't have to be emotional. And I actually love sharing that with people, that you can take this, it can be fun. You know, it can be fun to discover who you really are, to discover what triggers you. Treat it like a game. So during this program too, we had this professional coach who's like a coach. That's what he does, or that's what they do. So I had this guy, Rasul. Of course, I had this like really tough guy, does jiu-jitsu, and he's like Billy Blank. And he used to be like, just get curious. And I used to be like, what? I'm having a breakdown. You know, like, I am in my shit. I can't think, you know. And he'd be like, just get curious. And it helped me lighten up and realize, like, that is all this is, right? Discovering your limiting beliefs is you getting curious about why you do what you do, why you think what you do, why are you not getting the results that you want, why are you getting the results that you want, just whatever is going on in your life, why is it happening, and just kind of figure out how to best serve yourself and be your best self. Okay, let me come back to my notes. So basically what we're going to cover, simple things, is what are limiting beliefs and how to identify them, what tools you have at your fingertips, and how to use them. So super simple. I love this quote that I want to share. Change your story, change your life. Have you guys heard that before? It's freaking true, you guys. Like, that is the secret sauce. Like, that is the key, you know? Change your story, change your life. And I think when I'm in my shit is the time I really don't want to hear that, right? When I'm not, I'm like, yeah, I love this quote. But that's a great one to like put up on your wall, you know? Just to come back to when you need it. Okay, have you guys read The Big Leap? No? Oh my gosh, you guys need to go read that. The Big Leap. It's on the doTERRA reading list, so not like throwing you for a loop. It's something that I think everyone in doTERRA, from doTERRA, I feel like they prescribed it, right? I'm pretty sure it's in like the old rank guides. I don't know if the new rank guides have PD book lists. I think they do, but it's in one of them. And I've read it twice. I'm actually going to read it again because I think I need it again. But what they talk about, if you did read that book, The Big Leap, talks about something called the upper limit problem. And it's kind of the same as limiting beliefs. But really, I was going to use that in case you guys read it as like being similar. But to me, a limiting belief or the upper limit problem, when you read it, then you can kind of make the connection. I believe it's a way, and this is my own thought of what it is, but it's a way of self-managing to keep yourself from getting hurt, to keep yourself safe. Okay, so it's like your radar. You know, when fear comes up, when you're afraid of something, when you're worried, you don't want to like jump into a fire, right? And they actually say that it comes from our like caveman days when that was real, right? Like you actually couldn't jump into the fire. You had to be aware of that. You had to be aware of like your surroundings, and you had these fears, and fear was actually a trigger to like be careful, right? Because you might die. And so we don't need that strong what is that word? Primate instinct anymore, right? Like we're not always like gonna die at every second because our lives are so different than that time, right? And so it kind of can get in our way because it creates these fears and it stops us from actually doing things, right, that we may want to be doing. And so most times what we're trying to protect ourselves from is or you're trying to protect your safety, love, or belonging. Sometimes it's one is really strong in your life. Maybe it's all three. It could be a combination of that. But again, safety, love, and belonging. And so usually if you do feel yourself in your shit, because to me that's the best way to put it. You guys understand what I mean when I say that, yeah? Yeah, if you're in doTERRA, of course you know that. So when you're in your shit, that's a good question to ask yourself. What am I fearful of losing right now? Love, safety, belonging? Like if I actually reach that goal, if I take that next step, what am I scared that I might lose? And so it usually comes back to that. And that's something I learned in the program as well, which is really helpful. So limiting beliefs are most likely created from birth, sometimes pre-birth, right? Like when you're in your mom's opu. You can have traumas in there as well, but it's from that period till about 5, sometimes not even 5. So it's like the time that you don't remember anything, which is so awesome because you can't always tie it back to a circumstance or an instance, right? If we could, it'd be super easy. Like, oh yeah, that one time that I did that and this happened, like that's exactly what caused it. But it's usually during a time when we don't really remember everything. And so it's also a time when we aren't very rational, right? We're not very aware of why people do things, right? Intentions, or, like as a little kid, like you don't really truly understand why your parents do certain things, right? And you perceive it the way you perceive it. And so a lot of our limiting beliefs are gifts from our parents. And you got to look at it that way too, right? Because you get to go through these experiences. They really do shape who you are. And at this point in our lives, we're adults. I really feel like it's our job, if we want it to be, to face these limiting beliefs, you know, and they're gifts to us because it helps us to heal, and it can help us help others. And that's, to me, one of the biggest reasons I think it's so important in what we do in this business, because we are helping others all the time. We are working on healing others through physical and emotional a lot of the time. And this is something that, to me, is so tied to that. And oils absolutely help with limiting beliefs. So I'm sure you all know, like, what is a great oil that you can use when you're feeling triggered in whatever way, right? And if you don't, like, go find it. Yeah. Or have your Itovi, because that's really helpful too. And so in these moments when we have some kind of trauma, sometimes it's not even a trauma, sometimes it's just the way we perceive something, right? It's kind of like this, like something happens, and as a little kid, right, in these ages from 0 to 5, we make a deal with that person or ourselves, basically, right? With whatever, that we are whatever we believe. And throughout our life, we look for ways to validate that belief. And guess what? It shows up all the time, because when you're looking for something, right, it's going to show up. So I did want to share a story with you guys, because I wanted to make it kind of relevant in case you're a little lost. And it's okay if you are lost, just kind of stick with me. And I'm sure whatever you get out of this is what you get out of it, right? Like, it's okay if you're not like, oh yeah, I'm the master of limiting beliefs, but becoming aware of them is really the first step. And so I'm going to give you guys, again, some tools later on, or at the very end, and some action steps that will help you, I think. And so just bear with me. Okay, so my story, to kind of make it real, is, and to be honest, I figured this out through one of the exercises that we did, where, like, it was almost like a meditation where they walked us backwards through our life, because I did not remember that this happened. But okay, so I saw myself in kindergarten, kind of standing there, a little confused. I was a little girl, right? I was a very petite little girl. And I remember everything bustling around me, like all the kids kind of moving around, doing, I think, what we were supposed to be doing. And I don't know what we're supposed to be doing. And I remember being very confused, wanting to ask, what are we supposed to be doing? I don't know what to do. But the teacher was busy, right? She was like talking to someone else, helping like this long line of children. And in that moment, I made the decision that my voice doesn't matter, or that my voice is not important. And I just thought, like, well, it's better I just don't say anything. I'll just follow. And that was a trend that I did basically throughout my whole life until network marketing. And so, you know, I noticed, if I look back in my life, that was a really defining moment for me. Something so small. The teacher was just busy, you know? I just should ask the question, but I made that decision then. And it literally stuck with me through high school. I went to Punahou, which was a huge school, and I just didn't want to be part of like everything. I just wanted to like hide always, right? So I like found a group of friends that like wanted to also hide, and we just like hung out, did our own thing. In college, when I played soccer, same thing. I just kind of like wanted to hide. I was like on the soccer team, and I wanted to hide. I just didn't really want to like voice my opinion. I didn't want to put myself out there. And then I think because of this, what I look back at, and especially identifying now as an adult, like what it really hurt me is that I never got what I wanted, because I never said anything, right? I was just like, oh, see, I didn't get it again. And so the issue was that I wasn't getting what I wanted, but the belief that was fueling that was that my voice didn't matter. I wasn't important enough to speak up. Do you guys kind of see that connection? Does anyone have like a similar thing that happened like that to them? Maybe it's pretty specific. But that's just my example to you guys, how one instance, super mellow, nothing important, nothing traumatizing, can really define that limiting belief, and it can play out. It can still be it still plays out for me, to be honest, all the time. And so that's my major one that I've been working on since I learned what a limiting belief was. And it's way better than it was. And yet at the same time, I'm still working on it, right? So it takes some time, but it's okay.
I just want to pop in real quick and say this is really interesting because I think those of us that have kids or are around children a lot, we see this at such a young age, and it's I mean, my kids are around, so I don't want to like put them on blast, but that they've created these identities or these ways that they see themselves, and they just kind of they kind of, I don't know if it make, I can't remember the word that you said, but it's like they recreate it over and over. It's like they validate it. They see themselves in this way, and then they just keep validate. It's really fascinating what you're saying, that it starts at such a young age. And I think a lot of times we always think that it's something like the mean teacher, right, that didn't call on you, or you asked for help and ignored you. And what you're saying is that it sometimes isn't even that traumatic either, you know.
Totally. And of course, as parents, and you're gonna like be like, oh my gosh, I can't, what am I, you know, you're gonna be aware and worried. But I know Brianna always said, like, oh, we're giving our kids so many things to work on, like as a joke, right? Because it's like, you can't, there's nothing you can do to predict or know how people are perceiving. You can only be your best self, right? And so it comes back to that too, is like, you still as a parent, as a person, just have to always kind of be real strong in yourself. Okay, so why is focusing or checking out, bringing up limiting beliefs relevant to you guys? Because I'm sure some of you are like, okay, this is cool, I want to learn more. And some of you are like, absolutely not. And that's what I've noticed in my mentoring is, and when I bring up limiting beliefs and we talk about this, there's some people that are just like, yes, give me more. And that was me. So I did this crazy program for a whole year. And there's other people that are just like, oh, no, thank you. You know, and they're just not ready to go there. And that's okay, because it's an onion. When you open yourself up, you are exposed, and not everyone's ready for that. It can be not fun and really, what's the word? Can be brutal if you're not ready for that, you know? So it takes a lot of courage, but just know, again, on the other side of it is where that freedom is, you know? Emotional freedom. And so, okay, why is it relevant to you guys? To me, if you can understand, identify, feel, bust through, whatever, learn how to mitigate your limiting beliefs or understand them, or at least control them, because that's kind of part of it. It's like sometimes they come up. Nowadays, something new for me is like I kind of like hear myself in like a third person. Sounds crazy, but it's the best thing ever, because instead of this like running belief going through my head and I don't even know it's there, I actually hear it now and I'm like, oh, how dare, you know? And it makes me a little bit like, oh my God, I cannot believe I'm telling myself that. Like, I don't even believe that, you know? Stuff like that. And so if you can do that, then you can move forward in action in your business and in your life, of course. And you guys heard that your business is a mirror to your life. Your life is a mirror to your business. You guys believe that? You guys heard that? Now that you've heard it, you're going to see it everywhere. And if you really think about it, like, think about the struggles you have on your team, right? Think about the struggles you have in this business. I'm sure there are scenarios in your life, again, not necessarily scenarios, but it's the same vibe, right? Like, for instance, like, I'll just use a very simple one. I'm not organized enough in my business. Like, I wish I was more organized. I wish I like was better at like keeping track of stuff and whatever. Honestly, it's the same in my life. It's not as a parent, because it's not as necessary for me to be detailed like that with my kids, but it's still something that is, it's the same. If there was a level system, right, on each, it'd be the same. And so just think about that. Where are the mirrors? Where do you see your challenges as being the same? Where do you see your triumphs, your successes as being the same? Okay. Because again, as you bust through these limiting beliefs, it's not just about your life, your business, it's both. It's all one. It's all the same. Okay. And I think the sooner that you kind of marry the two as well, like everything becomes a little bit easier, because you see the lens through, it's you. It's not your circumstances. You are responsible for everything. So it's a way to be really, really accountable to your growth, right? Mentally, physically, emotionally. And it's just a way to take action. Why focus on limiting beliefs? Because it's going to get you to your best life, right? That's why we all do doTERRA, because we want to better our life, want to up level our life, whether it's financially. Most times it's financially. Most times it's going to be financially and like spiritually and emotionally, because that's just part of it. I think that what I've noticed, I like to observe a lot. And what I've noticed is, in network marketing, multi-level marketing, it triggers us to our core for many people, because the number one thing that we're all, again, this is my own philosophies, that we're also afraid of, though, is what others think about us. However we look at it, it seems to always kind of be under the surface there, right? And when you're in direct sales, when you're in multi-level marketing, you need to market to everyone. You need to be talking to everyone. And so it puts us in this really uncomfortable place where it brings up a lot of fears and it brings up a lot of blocks. And how can we be successful if we're self-sabotaging and blocking ourselves from our success because we're too fearful for whatever reason, right? And so to me, that is why it's good to focus on limiting beliefs as well, because it helps us grow in our business straight up. And if you listen to, sorry,
just on it, because I think it's so powerful what you're saying. I don't know what everyone on the team, I haven't had private mentor calls with everyone, but I know a few of us have talked about these very same limiting beliefs. I know I have some of them. And I just wanted to point out that I think it's kind of a cultural thing too. Like in Hawaii, especially, people, we're not braggarts, you're not raised to talk about how awesome you're, like you're taught to be very humble. When somebody tells you do a good job, oh no, like, I think that's a kind of cultural thing, because people from the mainland, especially trainers and stuff, will say that oftentimes about teachers. Like they'll go watch amazing teachers and they'll give them all these accolades, and they're like, no, I'm just doing my job, I'm just doing what everybody else does. And so that gets in our way too, because we don't want to like upset people. We don't want to like, we don't want to upset people, and we don't want people to be like, "Ay, some ete them," like asking me about these essential oils. I don't like know about, So we're very okay with like posting it on social media or that kind of like at a distance. But the like texting the people that you're afraid to say no. I mean, come on, you guys. We all have that list of 15, 20 people who like, you're just like, nah, I'm not gonna ask them. No way. They're gonna say no. So.
I agree. And I thought that for a long time, but I swear that if you, and I know you guys do, but like if you'll find the same attitude. So maybe doTERRA also brings in good people. I don't know, right? Like good, humble people, because I feel like I hear stories of like, you read in the Leadership magazine or Brianne Hovey, like, she's a great example. Like her story is so similar. And I think that's I don't know what that means. I just know that I used to really do that as well and be like, you know what, it's local culture and but I've noticed that it's not. I think it's a lot of people are maybe it's just nice, good people. I don't know. But I just see it. I see it around more than I thought I would, I think it's a common human thing, and maybe we're just more open about it. I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out too. I don't have an answer, but yeah, I appreciate that, because I've noticed that as well, Okay. So when do limiting beliefs come up? I want to kind of walk you through this like technical part of it. So like maybe you can just walk away from this, maybe understand a little more. But do you guys have any questions or any comments? I'd love to hear from anyone who wants to share. Or if anyone has questions.
You guys can unmute yourself if you want to say anything.
I just wanted to say, Noelle, I really appreciate this, because I think this is one thing and I speak for myself, but this is one thing that we don't look deep into. We look at the technical stuff of the business, and it starts with love, it starts with passion, and then as you get deeper into your business, you look more at numbers, and you look at sharing and how to share. So I appreciate this. This makes you look at yourself, and makes you want to grow in just self, not even if you don't even relate it to doTERRA, if you just relate it to you and your own personal growth. So no, this is kind of a wow right now. So thank you.
I want to jump on that. Aisha just gave a thumbs up. I think it's all about your leader. With the limited amount of time I've always had to do doTERRA, personal development has always been last on my list. If I do personal development, it's more for educational purposes, and then I bring it into the business. So I've done a lot with mindset for kids and using that language in the classroom and stuff. But I have to agree with Kanani. We're a very technical team. We're all about the numbers and the nitty gritty and I mean, I feel like we have very strong relationships with one another, but we haven't really taken the time to talk about more of these personal growth things. And I appreciate that you keep, saying for some of you guys it's like, what? And, but if we really dig deep, and for me, not so deep, we all have these limiting beliefs. The thing that keeps us back from really doing what we really want to do. All those great ideas we have that somehow we just don't actually follow through with or pull the trigger on. So I think that this really is starting a great conversation for our team about how we can continue to embed more personal development into what we do, because it's such an integral part. And you hear them all say that, but it's just something that I've always put on the back burner because of time.
That makes so much sense. I totally get that. And I will totally give you my tips on how to fit it in. But yeah, no, that makes so much sense. And I don't know how it became such a, you kind of forget, right? You have a lot of kids and you kind of just going with it. You forget why you did things or how things came to be, or why they became important. But yeah, I mean, I think just, I noticed just for myself that once I allowed myself to believe that I could reach a rank, and that the things that I was worried about were just my own made up things, and what if, and that's actually a really good technique that we were taught, was first imagine the worst case scenario, get out all your fears. So what's the worst thing that could happen if you reach gold, right? You don't have enough time, it sucks, he's not even that good, and whatever you can make up about why you're just I don't want to even go for gold this month, I just don't, or silver, whatever you guys are going for. And then so imagine a worst case scenario, run through it, feel the feelings, and then imagine well, what's the best case scenario? If everything worked out perfectly, what would that look like? How would that feel? What would people outside be noticing about you? Who would be affected? Just those kind of questions, and really paint a picture on okay, again, what if anything was possible? What would reaching gold look like to you? And just feel that, and I think that's part of visioning and everything that, is, again, here. And I'll be honest, I'm not doing this on the daily, at least that. But when I do find myself it's a really good practice, and it's simple. It doesn't have to be long. It can be 5 minutes, right? That you kind of just imagine the two scenarios. But a lot of times, limiting beliefs, as I'm talking about, when they do come up, it usually comes up when you're going for a new rank, especially because you have all these new fears. When you achieve a new rank, then all of a sudden that upper limit wants to bring you back down to your comfort level. And so all of a sudden you have all these new fears that you didn't have when you were going for that rank. Did that ever happen to you guys? As you get higher ranks, that will happen. And you'll see the ones that you're oh gosh, that rank was a scary one to me, right? Each one is a little different. When you're feeling like you're learning something new, of course you're going to be insecure. So if you're learning a new skill, or say like you're practicing your contacting or you're practicing your closing, something that you're not really good at, that's a lot of times that comes up, right? Your limiting beliefs come up. Or when you're comparing yourself to others, it's very common, right? When you look at social media and you see all the good, awesome things everyone else is doing, and you're like, well, I'm not doing that, you know. And it can be, limiting beliefs can come up about yourself, what you truly believe about yourself, right? I don't deserve that. I could never do that. She must have all the time in the world, whatever it is. And then how do you know it's a limiting belief, right? Because a lot of times, especially in the beginning, you're kind of like, how is that different than like a negative thought? Or how is that different than like, you know, negative self-talk or whatever? A limiting belief is something that is like, it's pretty consistent. And so something will happen and you'll feel triggered. You know that, I mean, that's like the best I can share. It's like, you feel triggered, like you're like irritated or frustrated. You're like, I don't feel good about that. And that to me is the best way to say it. When something continues to trigger you, and then you notice this trend of like, well, it's every time that it's that kind of person, or it's like when they say that, or when I see that on social media, those things trigger you, write them down, because that's going to help you understand yourself better. When you're irritated, when you're being judgmental, that's also a really good way to realize that's probably a limiting belief. If you're judging someone else, it's probably because of something that you believe about yourself. That's a hard one. That was a really hard one. If you guys want some good support on that, Gabby Bernstein, The Judgment Detox, is an excellent book. If you feel judged, or if you feel like you are a little too judgmental for yourself right now, or you just want to like take a look at that whole aspect of just judging, super good book. It's really, really great. When you feel shame, they say shame comes from feeling judged. Isn't that interesting? Which, again, growing up local culture, that is very true. But shaming is like a tool for discipline. Once I read that, I was like, I don't want my kids to feel that way. You know, I don't want them to feel shame. Shame's the worst feeling in the world. And yes, I to some extent, I still believe like it's a tool for discipline. You know, that's just how we were raised, and it's very accepted. But who wants to feel judged and shamed? Like, it's actually something that I would want to get better as a parent, so I don't have to do that. You know what I mean? So working on that, but that's just something I realized, like, oh, shame is, and maybe Liza, that was something for me. I was like, maybe that's still why local culture, because shame is so common, right? Shame and judgment, like that's how we keep each other in line.
I mean, how much as a parent you say like, that is so shame, don't do that. Like, that is so, you know, that's so rude. You don't come somebody's house, you don't bring, I mean, we say that all the time, like, don't be shamed, don't make shame, you know?
Yeah. But when you're feeling that way, that's a trigger, or that's a way to know that maybe that's a limiting belief there. Or when you're mad or just uncomfortable. Those are all like limiting belief-ish kind of feelings that you're like sitting with. And so it's good to flesh through them, right? And how do you get over a limiting belief? So I love this because it's so simple. But the first step is to learn to feel it, right? So all those things I just said, learning to, like, when you're in those moments, sit with it. Don't just try to be like, okay, I gotta get over that. Or like, just, I don't know why I feel that way. I just do, right? Again, get curious. What made me feel that way? What happened that all of a sudden I was irritated, or whatever it was, right? But learn to feel it, and learn to be curious about it. Acknowledge it for what it is. Be like, oh my gosh, I think that was a limiting belief. Huh, right? Cool, I want to know more. Just get curious about it. The next part is to thank it. And that was weird for me at first, because I was like, thank it. Thank that I feel shitty about myself. Like, thank that my whole life I've thought like my voice is not important. Why would I think that? But the whole reason why you want to do that is because at the time it served a purpose, right? And remember, I told you these limiting beliefs are put in place for us to keep ourselves safe, right? It's our system of protection, safety, belonging, or love. What are we afraid of losing? And so for that little Noelle, right, little girl, I was afraid of losing, I think I felt a little unsafe. Like if I spoke out, I might get in trouble, to be honest. That was probably what it was. I wanted to stay safe, right? That makes sense. If I'm always kind of like staying in my bubble, I'm really safe. I'm not putting myself out there. So I was trying to protect my safety, maybe my belonging a little, right? Want to belong. I don't want to like be that person that's like out there and making trouble. And so that's what it served me. So it's like thanking it for serving you and for protecting you at the time. But you know, in this time of life, you don't need it to protect you anymore. So thank you, but I don't need this anymore. And then the truth is, once you shine light on your limiting belief, it kind of just dissolves. And again, not the first time, gone, never again coming back. It's going to come back, but it's going to come back weaker, you know, and more noticeable. And that's the beauty of it. It's like you're shining that light on it. And next time it comes back, you're going to be like, oh, I see it, right? And you're going to be able to like control yourself a little more. And so, and sometimes not. Sometimes you don't want to control yourself. You're like, I still want to really feel this feeling. And that's okay too, right? And that's what I'm saying. Give yourself the grace. Whatever comes up in those moments of you sifting through these beliefs, because they've been in place your whole life, right? And it's the first time ever that you're shining light on it. And so give yourself grace however you react to it. But again, know that there's light on the end of the tunnel. So I wanted to just kind of share like the different ways that you can find tools, okay? So a really easy one that I've always stuck to is audiobooks. And I always tell my team that you can always fit in an audiobook. You know, get Audible. I think it's like maybe $12 a month, and it's linked to your Amazon, but you get a book every month. So it's like buying a book every month. And if you don't buy a book that month, you just get credit, and you can buy books whenever. You can buy any kind of books, like The Hobbit, or like, if you want other books too. It's just a great resource. Yeah. I don't like to read. So, and if I had to read books, I would never get it done, right? So I just fit in audiobooks. My favorite times, and I just tell my kids, like, you know, if we're having a conversation, obviously I'm not going to listen to an audiobook. But when they're doing their own thing in the back of the car and they don't want to talk to me, that's when I pop it in. I usually like get my headphones and my phone, and I just listen to my audiobook, or I put it on the radio and they just have to listen. And they just got used to it. Like, they're not offended. They don't care. They think it's kind of interesting. And it's saying good stuff most times, right? So I love that. I'm like, well, they may not understand, but it's positive affirmations. It's positive talk. Like, it can't be bad for them, right? And so in the car, whenever I drive, I'm pretty consistent with that. Even if it's a 10-minute drive, I listen to it for 10 minutes. And then my magic time is like when I'm doing the dishes. You know, I get super irritated when someone's trying to bother me. I'm like, leave me alone. I'm doing the dishes. And I am listening to my audiobook and getting in my PD. And those are literally like, that's the only time. I don't ever sit down, and I even do like, you know, like summer success. I'm doing the webinars while I'm doing dishes. That's just how I am. Not everyone is like that. I do have someone on my team, and she said, I cannot do that. I have to sit down and write notes. I'm like, well, again, that's your belief that you have to do that, right? You can really do whatever you want. So for me, I'd rather fit it in. If there's a book I really, really like, then I will buy the hard copy and I'll read through it again and like try to highlight. You know what I mean? But audiobooks is, to me, the easiest way to just like get in that daily PD. And I used to tell people, especially when they were starting off, and to like try for 10 minutes a day. You know, it's kind of just becomes like your regiment, your protocol of what you do. But that's your belief, that's your mindset that you're working on, right? And you know, anyone can push their way to certain ranks, but there comes a time where you're really gonna have to up level yourself to reach these new ranks. If you guys think about it, like, we're in this industry that is pretty much unheard of anywhere in this world, unless you marry into royalty, to go from like a certain level of income to the level of incomes that we're looking at. Like, that's just not, it doesn't happen, right? Without school, without status, any Joe Blow off the street could want to do this and become a millionaire if they really wanted to. So you got to believe, like, not a lot of us, again, and this again, back to local culture, a lot of us don't even want to make that much money secretly. You want to, but you don't, you know? And so again, a hint is money is probably, all of you guys have a limiting belief with money. And it's usually exactly the same limiting belief that your parents had or the exact opposite of what they believe. So think about what your parents believe about money. You know, for me, when my husband bought, I would never buy a new car until I met him, bought a new car. I was so embarrassed to my dad, my mom. They still are like, I can't believe you bought a new car. Who do you think you are? You don't need a new car. They're very much like, you don't need that. Be thankful for what you have. And so, you know, that was limiting belief. Like, if you want a lot of money, you're not thankful for what you have. You're rude, right? Shame. And so local culture, like, money is not our forte to just be like, yes, we want a lot of money, and yes, we know what we're going to do with it, right? But the truth is, okay, and another book suggestion is You're a Badass at Making Money. Have you guys read that or heard of that one? Joe Centio. That book, if you want to be diamond or above, I suggest it, because you're going to need that support with really up-leveling your money belief. And I love that she says in that book, like, you're a good person. We need to shift that whole money paradigm that rich people are naughty and bad and evil, is people like us, good people, have to be making big bucks. So be that person. If you know you're a good person, know that you deserve a lot of money, because what would you do with it? Great things, right? And so anyway, that's a really good book for that belief. And I have this belief cheat sheet. Let me share a screen and show you guys. Hold on. Have you guys seen this before? Do you guys use this on your team? Have you seen this? Build Your Belief?
I haven't seen this.
It's older, but it's from Share Success. And what I love about this is you can't really see it, but this little, I can send this to Liza and she can send it to all you guys. There, you can see it. So they say, right, like, your belief in these steps is based on what rank you're at. And so if you have been elite forever and you're like, how come I'm elite forever? Why can't I move on? Okay, that's because elite premier is the same. Say you've been elite premier forever and you really want to be silver and you're just like, why can't I be there? Have you mastered your belief in the company and the opportunity? Or do you find yourself making excuses of why people don't want this opportunity or why this company isn't amazing, right? Silver, to me, was the hardest because it was like, it's you. I didn't believe in myself, right? I believed in the product, I believed in the company, I believed in the opportunity. But I didn't believe that myself could do this. So silver for me was a hard one to get to, right? Because I had to up-level my belief. Even gold, right? Gold and platinum is your leaders. And so it makes sense, right? Because all of a sudden, for silver, you needed 3 elites, right? You could do that. You could build that yourself. You hustle. But now all of a sudden, it's really hard to build 3 platinums by yourself. You kind of need that buy-in. You need other people to want to be doing this with you and stuff. And so you have to believe in your leaders, right? That they can do this. So it correlates with that. But what I love about this, and this is how you use it, is you look at the limiting beliefs in that area. You check out, you see, is any of these relevant? I don't know enough. They don't work. They're too expensive. I can't afford LRP. I won't use enough for 125 LRP. I don't have enough time to learn enough. I trust others more than myself with my health. You know, these are very common beliefs at executive level. And that's kind of what it's saying. And so what you do is you acknowledge it and you just look at the alternate belief and fit in a new thing. And you just tell yourself that, even if you don't believe it, right? I know enough for today. I know we're here to learn more. I know where to learn more. I trust the gifts of the earth to take care of me and those I love. I honor and invest in the health of my body, mind, and spirit. Natural products support my wellness lifestyle. I have all the time I need, right? Everyone say that. I have all the time I need. I take accountability for my health. And so that's all you do. You literally like find where you are on the left side, acknowledge it, and then find what you want to be on the right side. And it's usually good to try to stick with that, whatever column or whatever that is, row that you're in, because they correlate. And yeah, and it may feel funny at first, right? Like there's I don't trust myself. Moving into, I honor my inner voice. Of course, in the beginning, you're gonna be like, I honor my inner voice, and it's not gonna be true for you. But these are things that you just say it, and it triggers something. It changes your belief, even just a budge. And then you just keep practicing it, and you work on embodying that belief, okay? So yeah, I'll send this to you guys. I think this is really helpful, especially because it's by rank. And that's what I've noticed. Like whenever people are, so this is how I use it too. I'm basically done. I can ask questions, or if you guys have questions, I can answer questions. But if people have, they're telling me their things on our mentor call, like, well, yeah, nobody responded. No one wants to come to my class. It's just a busy time, blah, blah, blah. I'll always ask them, like, what PD are you doing? None, like, okay, well, let's get on one.Maybe that can help. And then I'll say, have you checked out the limiting belief cheat sheet? And they'll be like, no, like, just check it out. Not shoving this down your throat, but just check it out. If you haven't done that yet, do that, then come back to me and let me know what you think, right? Like, so do your due diligence before throwing up on your mentor, all the reasons why it's not working, so that you come to them, at least, again, being responsible for like your shit. Because the cool thing about it too is most likely you're not the only one going through it. There's like 1 million people in DoTERRA going through it too, right? Whoever's going for that rank is probably going through the same thing. And so to me, that made me feel better, because I'm like, oh, okay, it's not just I can't do this. It's that this is triggering this part of me based on what I'm growing at in this business. So I hope that makes sense to you guys, and that is liberating in itself. You guys are totally in control. But yeah, I know it's like just about 9:30. Thanks for bearing with me. Those of you who did, let me know if you guys have any questions. Oh, podcast. Thank you. Sorry. Yes, absolutely. I can share my faves with you guys if you want. I am obsessed with podcasts. I actually have kind of been putting audiobooks on hold, because podcasts are they're so relevant right now, and you can kind of choose, right? And they're an hour, and then it's like a next. So obviously the Network Marketing Heroes podcast is amazing. Oh, sorry. Little snippet for you guys. Looks like that. Network Marketing Heroes. And they have people from DoTERRA. They have people from all network marketing businesses that are just killing it, their business. And the things that they share are ridiculous. It is like every time mind-blowing. If you want to just get like real inspired, Oprah's Super Soul Sunday. It's a really good one to just like get really like in it. And then Whole Fit. You guys follow Whole Fit? Ange Peters. She's amazing. I love her podcast. She's pretty harsh. If you guys like that, I like that. Like, give it to me. Some people are like offended, but totally up to you how you feel. And then the last one that I think is like a must listen is two more. All Rise Up. All Rise Up is this I don't know how to show it. This is the only DoTERRA. So All Rise Up is, she only interviews DoTERRA, like basically Prezi Diamonds. She's from Australia. And then because we're in the health industry, I feel like I should maybe like get real nitty gritty sometimes. And then Bulletproof Radio, Bulletproof Coffee, he has his own radio station, and it's just health. And it's like obscure, cutting edge, really interesting things about our health. So I know, like, for me, it's never been something that I want to get real like into. Like, I want to be healthy, but I don't want to be like, but the things that they talk about are very inspiring. And I think it goes right along with what we do, right? We're like trying to be cutting edge of health. And so knowing more, I think, can be helpful. So that's like my like range of, depending on how I feel, what I want to look at podcasts. But thank you guys so much. This is so awesome.
Thanks so much for sharing all of that. Anybody have any questions for Noelle?
It was a lot.
It was a lot. But you know what? I feel like it has taken us to another level. I mean, we have a range right now on the call, and people that are listening to, brand new builders, to those of us that are, going for these upper ranks. But I think everything you talked about is so relevant to all of us, not only in our doTERRA businesses, but in our lives. We all have upper limiting beliefs about what we can accomplish, whether it's in our relationships, whether it's in our the careers that we're in right now, whether it's in our doTERRA business. And if you're not feeling it right now in doTERRA, you absolutely will at some point. And I think that's why a lot of people give up. They think that they can post a couple times on social media, they're going to get, a couple friends and family members, and then it's going to blow up. And I am constantly reminding people that you're building a pipeline, and you can go as fast as you want, but for the most part, it's slower if you're steady, if you stay the course. And I think you connecting to taking time to invest in yourself. I know that this is something that is really hard for me. I almost have my own limiting belief about it, but I'm really trying to get into a schedule, and then also giving myself grace to find those little pockets, right? So like listening to my mindset meditation in the morning, doing my 5-minute journal in the beginning and end of the day. And so there's so much good stuff in here, Noelle. I mean, this is something that our team, in 4.5 years, this is not anything that we've embarked on, this sort of personal development aspect. And I think it's really exciting to have everybody talk about a podcast that they've listened to, talk about a book, maybe even seeing if there's interest in doing a book study or at least a book read together, and then chatting about that for 5 minutes on the weekly call. Just getting in it and sitting in it and feeling it and going through the process of it. These are all things that we as a team have not done. And I think that it's a missing piece. And so I can't thank you enough for taking your time to come on tonight and just be so raw, real, honest, laying it all out there, and letting us know, like, I might be speaking your language, I might be like, hells no, not yet, but this information is there for us whenever we're ready. And I'm really excited to up level as a leader and sort of encourage my team to embark in more of this connection with personal development and growth. So 1,000 thank yous, girl. I'm so grateful for our connection, and I want you to know that I'm always here for you and your team in all of the technical stuff, but would love for you to check back in a couple months, maybe to do a little follow-up call or something. That would be really cool.
I have so much content on limiting belief stuff, and so I have a lot of fun activities and things we could go through too. So definitely, if you guys want to do this again in a couple months, definitely let it sink in and do some PD and whatnot.
Yeah.
But and then just know too, like, not like people may be like, nah, but it's everyone is gonna be in their own pace. It's never flawless. But I think it gives you as a mentor at least another way to help people. Not everyone needs it, as severe as others, and some people really need PD help. And so it gives you at least, like, what you've read or what you've been through, and that you can share it with them. Yeah. So that's always helpful. But thank you so much, all of you guys. Thanks for showing up tonight and having me.
Thank you so much. And we have to connect at convention. We have to make sure that we connect at convention. And for those of you that are going or on the fence, I know Noelle would agree with me that convention really is you stepping into your doTERRA business, and there's nothing like it. When that experience helps you to really connect with your true depth of where you want to go with this business and this company and so forth. So look forward to seeing you in real life convention. But thanks so much, Noelle. You guys, I love you all. See, and I'm like so opposite. I'm total emotional. I tell everybody I love them. I cry. Like my kids look at me. We went to watch Incredibles 2 the other day. They're like, Mom, can you not cry at this movie, please? So you guys have a great night. Thank you for giving your time. I look forward to talking to you guys next week. Sunday, BOGO strategy session, my house, 3:00. And then we'll do a follow-up online the following Wednesday, our builders call. And thanks everybody so much. Have a great night. Bye. Aisha, I'm going to log back on in like 5 minutes, okay? I'm going to go. So I'll be back. Okay. Thanks, Noelle. Oh, you can stay on. You want to just stay on? Okay. I'm going to go check in on the kids. Oh, I can't hear you. Hold on. Oh, wait, stop. I got to stop recording.